I'm Kevin Dutton, and I'm an audio intern here at Evergreen State College. I was traveling, playing music, and when I got to Evergreen, I met a bunch of musicians and found out there was a pretty rad audio program here. Before the internship, I did a lot of recording music on my own. I have done very mild maintenance and repair, and I've also booked and coordinated a lot of things to put a tour together during the summers when I'm not in school here at Evergreen. I'm hoping that through this internship I'm going to learn how to maintain and actually fix problems like electronics and things that I'm actually utilizing in my day-to-day. I want to know how things work. I don't want to just know how to make them work. And I want to be able to, take care of problems and support and technical things that I can actually take care of myself. I'm most excited, I think, to learn how to build things as well, like fixing things and building things, actually getting into the electronics of the gear that I'm using. After Evergreen, I want to try to record as much music as I can, hopefully do some traveling and kind of find places where I can either join up on teams that are already kind of working, or find music that I can either record in sessions or record live, but I just want to be around music and I want to capture it.
Hi, I'm Taylor Sikorsky, and I'm doing the video internship at Evergreen this year. I heard about Evergreen. I was going to school in Detroit for a couple years when I graduated high school, and then I heard about the interdisciplinary curriculum that's encouraged at Evergreen, and I was really excited since I was studying two different fields of psychology and video, so I thought that would overlap really well, so I decided to come to Evergreen a couple years ago. I was interested in the internship because I'd taken a documentary class last year and I got to learn a lot of theory but not so much practice. I made a short documentary, but there was a lot I feel like I had left to learn. So I wanted to become an intern to learn all aspects of the production process so that I could be more self-sufficient when it comes time to put on an efficient production. Academically, to prepare for this internship, I started in high school taking some film prep classes for college. I learned a lot of programs like After Effects and editing programs. I also learned a little bit about writing movies. I made a short film for that. I've taken a lot of psych classes, which ties into the kind of film I'd like to study too, which I feel like has helped prepare me. And last year I took a documentary class where I got to make a short documentary about a heroin epidemic in Michigan. Outside of school, I'm always trying to keep busy with projects. I'm working on a sketch comedy video series with my friend. And in addition to that, I was an outreach coordinator for a documentary that just came out on PBS, and that showed me a completely different side of the industry that I've never seen, dealing with public relations and like emailing different magazines, asking them to write reviews about the movie. I want to learn more of like the technical aspects of making films and how to apply them so that I can be more self-sufficient in the field. Hopefully I'll retain everything I've learned here. I'm hoping to be able to practice a lot of it as I go, like making my own movies. I always try to do projects to keep myself busy so that I can apply the knowledge, and hopefully once I'm out of Evergreen, if I'm not working for a production team, I can just make my own documentaries. I'd like to go to grad school and learn more about how to integrate psychology with film. That'd be really cool. I'd like to work for a production team, putting on movies, and ultimately I'd like to be a freelance documentary maker.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Aaron Kish, and I'm one of the electronic media video interns at the Evergreen State College. Doing 15 years of construction and being miserable, I started doing research about going back to school for media production and found out that Evergreen had some of the best media suites and facilities in the state, and that's why I ended up here. It was kind of the natural progression of my education at Evergreen. It was the next step. I actually could have graduated in June and came back to do the internship for the technical aspects, for the hands-on production aspects of it, to be able to get a job when I leave Evergreen. Been around media since the 90s when it was still VHS and tape to tape, and have loved it, so that's kind of outside of school. Since being at Evergreen, I've done audio recording, sound design for film, cinematography, media production, 3 ILCs and an SOS to produce a documentary film. Pretty much anything I could do here, I did. A broad range of knowledge about media production and studio production and the hands-on technical things that will get me a job or take me farther once I get out of Evergreen. The TV studio production, or cinematography and the cameras and things like that. That's what I want to do with my life. I'm hoping to use it as a base to get into the industry and be able to continue learning, or it will carry me into qualify me to go to grad school and continue learning there. Honestly, I want to own my own production company. I have already done some of the groundwork and have a business license for it, but I want to be able to produce not just video, but audio and everything from pre-production and idea to the final thing.
I'm Patrick Laban, and I'm an audio intern here at the Evergreen State College. So I came to Evergreen because we have access as undergraduates to really high-tech, advanced, and expensive audio equipment. And so that's what drew me out here from Chicago, because if I went to a college out in Chicago, most of them are more like laboratory-based, where you sit at a laptop and you don't get to touch a microphone until you're a grad student. So I thought that this sounded much more up my alley. I had already finished all of the music courses here, all the audio courses that I could take at Evergreen, and I didn't want to be done. I wanted to still have access to the studios, and I knew that there was so much more to learn. I knew that there was a lot of multimedia things as well that I could be getting experience with, so I figured the internship would be not only a good resume builder, but it would just give me experience and more confidence in my abilities. When I was living back in Chicago, I was helping work at a recording studio out there, and so I got a few engineering credits here and there, and once I made it out here, I also recorded at Dub Narcotic Studios in downtown Olympia. And there last year, I also had an internship where I was doing electronic maintenance, so I was learning how to fix the audio gear that they had there, and a lot of it's vintage, and gave me a lot of really great experience, and I think all of those things together kind of helped me get this position at Evergreen. I'm hoping to get out of this internship a more solid understanding of other forms of media outside of audio, and I'm also hoping to be more confident in my abilities to run a professional environment in an audio studio. I'm really excited to play on the new synthesizers that we've gotten here and learn how those things work, because they're really complicated and they can do really amazing things. I'm also excited to learn about animation, not just drawn animation, but it would be great to get into some 3D animation as well, and incorporate all of those things in with interactive computer programming for audiovisual performances. I'm kind of trying to take every day at a time, and I just want to learn as much as I can so that when I am out of here, I have a foundation that will open the door to a lot of different possibilities, and I can then choose which one's the best for me.
My name's Keegan O'Neill, and I'm the Multimedia Lab intern. I grew up 30 miles south from here, and it was the closest school where I still had friends. So I was like, you know what? Sounds okay. I'm going to go there. Plus, I like that I didn't know what I was going to do, and there was a lot that I could do coming here just to make it so I could just be good and like figure out what I wanted to do with my life. When I first came to Evergreen, the first program I took was called The Epic and the Everyday, and it was a mix of experimental film and Epic Greek literature. And I really liked editing film. I really liked doing stuff like that, so I just picked it up. I got okay at it, and I kept working on it, and I kept taking media programs, and I just got decent at editing and decent at like using software, and now I just feel like I'm I can do this thing, and so I applied for the internship. Professor told me to, and then I got it. So here I am. I've done a lot of preparing, like a lot of reading, a lot of working just on random stuff to get good at programs, just so when people ask me questions, I could just not sound like a dummy and like tell them that, like, oh hey, yeah, no, this is how you do this. And I've also done a lot of work outside of school, like in making music videos for friends and people's bands, and I take a lot of band footage when I get a chance. But that's basically what I've done to get me ready for this internship. A lot of technical knowledge, a lot of things that will help me get a job once I'm outside of school. A lot of things that I think that like I can use to be able to live, I guess, start a career, get something done. Animation, but I also enjoy I'm also really into the idea of like learning sound design and stuff like that. Haven't had a lot of experience doing that, and it's something that I've wanted to wrap my mind around for a while. In the field, just getting a job and creating art using media. I'm planning on either moving down to Portland or Seattle and trying to get a job in a small production company, or if not, just like, I don't know, something in the media field, something that would make me happy, that I could do and like still live.
I'm Julia Logan, and I'm the production intern here at Evergreen. Originally, I was at the University of Oregon, and I came here because I liked that they didn't have fraternities, sororities, or a football team. Also that, you know, it had a whole nother type of curriculum that I hadn't experienced that I was interested to try. So I've done a lot of video work on my own time. I did a 20-minute documentary on hydraulic fracturing when I went to the University of Oregon. I've also done short music videos for fun on my own time. And yeah, I mean, I've kind of tinkered around with a lot of things, but I still have so much to learn, and that's why I'm here. I hadn't had a lot of experience academically at Evergreen before I took the internship, but I did a year of electronic media and was really interested in continuing to get like a lot more time doing things like productions and spending time here learning new media equipment. I'm expecting to get like a lot more experience and just a lot of skills in a wide range of, you know, parts that are a part of the production process in any media you're generating. You know, I'm hoping to get more experience doing good at lighting, doing good at audio, post-production, just kind of everything. I'm most excited to learn audio editing software because I've spent a lot of time doing video editing software, but I haven't got to learn things like Digital Performer as much, and I want to spend a lot of time on that while I'm here. I mean, obviously I'm hoping to make a career out of it. As a production intern, I feel like I get a lot of experience in all fields. I mean, personally, I'd love to work in the video game industry, doing event planning, coordinating, production work, if not just being a lackey running chords. Just something involved in, you know, some form of medium that I'm very invested in, and that's, you know, a field and an industry I'm dedicated to, so.
Hi, I'm Matt Chang, and I'm the animation and imaging intern here at the Evergreen State College. During my freshman year, I took a class called Animal Others, which was an animation, naturalism, creative writing class. And I fell in love with the medium then and started practicing it on my own time throughout my college career. And then last year, I took a class called The Epic and the Everyday, which introduced me to 16mm film and direct animation. So I just got interested in all the different forms, I guess, and decided that this would be a good way to continue that. I'd really like to hone my skills in all the different types of animation we have access to. I'm fairly familiar with just 2D paper stuff, but I want to become familiar with computer, 3D animation, and get better at direct. Probably 3D animation, though it's also the most intimidating. It's kind of where most places are looking at the moment, so if I want to keep it up, I probably need to get good at that. I'd like to go into animation, or failing that, just some form of visual storytelling in general, like children's books, comics, that type of thing. So I figured that what I learn about composition, movement, action, appeal, all that can be applied in many different areas.
My name is Max Peterson, and I am the music tech intern at the Evergreen State College. I initially started Evergreen to work on linguistics, but I decided to switch focus, I suppose, and started getting distracted by synthesizers. I have done hybrid music for 2 years, and I also did a quarter of intro to electronic music, and I've done several independent projects, such as building synthesizers and working on designing synths. I'm hoping to get technical, hands-on work with synthesizers and the studios and studio maintenance, as well as just sort of teaching skills and things like that, working with students as well as faculty. I'm most excited to learn more about synthesis, the way it works from a technical standpoint, sort of getting into synthesizers and even deeper, as well as getting under the surface of the studio, not just using it, but sort of making one and organizing it. I'd like to work building and maintaining synthesizers. I feel like synths are really cool, so I'd like to sort of work towards working somehow with synthetic sound and building electronics.
I'm Daniel Purcell. I'm the post-production media intern at the Evergreen State College. I'm a filmmaker, and that's the medium through which I've wanted to communicate and create ever since I was a kid. And after spending many years kind of pulling together video productions of my own with whatever equipment I could get my hands on and whoever was willing to help out, I realized I wasn't getting any closer to sneaking into a career doing that, which is what I want. And so I decided it was finally time to try film school. And after looking into various institutions, I realized Evergreen was kind of most closely suited to the way I prefer to learn. And so I came here. I think my qualifications at this point are mostly my enthusiasm for the work, and hopefully as the year progresses, I'll become more qualified. And I've spent, the first 3 years that I was here, I've taken media-focused classes, so I've had a chance to familiarize myself with some of the available gear, but not all of it. That's what this year's all about. In my first 3 years here, I made 5 short films, and I took classes where I felt I'd have the most opportunity to utilize all the available resources for film and media production here. The thing I'm most expecting to get out of the internship is a much greater familiarity with how all the equipment works and the language used to describe all the different moving parts. I'm most excited to learn everything. I'm most excited to learn, particularly I'm most excited about learning all the editing software and everything that can be done now in the post-production process. I'm certainly hoping that after I graduate, I'll be able to find work in the media industry, and through my internship, have the qualifications to do that. In particular, I'd like to find work as an editor while I continue to try to develop my own projects. I want to make movies, and I want to help other people make movies, and all kinds of media communication. I'd like to do that and make enough money off of it that I don't have to do anything else.
What was your best interaction with helping a student?
And we're off.
In the middle of helping them, I was like showing them some stuff, and they like, hold on, and then they like grabbed my arm, and they were like, hey, I just want to let you know that like my whole class really likes you, and you're like really helpful, and I really appreciate it. And it just caught me off guard, and I was like, I'm not here to be liked. And I was kind of like, I was like, oh yeah, thank you. And then it didn't set in until I sat down later, and I was like, oh, that was really nice of that guy to come out and tell me that. And then I had to think about it. I was like, is that just a really nice person, or did he mean that? But I think he might have meant it. I think I help people a little bit. It makes me happy. It's my best interaction.
Yeah, and I don't know if my best interaction is with one student in particular, but when I was training the students in the audio studios, the first quarter for the intro students, it was a lot rougher, and it took weeks and weeks for them to figure out how to do anything, and there was panicking, and basically by the time the next quarter came around and we were training them in more advanced studios, the work that we had done the first quarter really had helped, and like I saw the progression of the students. I saw them have more confidence, and they were more easily able to get the studios working. And yeah, it was just good to see that like I had been a part of helping build their confidence as engineers, and that felt really good.
I think what I most enjoyed really wasn't about my involvement. It was watching the media work students using this space, just because I'm a great advocate for the possibilities of what you can do in here. And it was really enjoyable to watch another group of people discover this space and kind of experiment with it. And then there were students who came back once they had that initial experience with new ideas about like, okay, now that I've been introduced to it, here's some things I can do. And I found that really inspiring, and I was glad to be a part of that.
It happens in like a lot of ways too. Like I've seen like people come in and not know anything about programs, and like have to like sit there for hours and hours and constantly call me over to help. And like I see them this quarter and they sit down and they're just like, oh, I just don't know where this file is, and that's all they ask me for help for. Or like, oh, I don't know how to tweak this, and that's it. Instead of they just hop in, they're good at it now, and I think it's great. But like soon they'll get better than I am, and then I'll have to start like telling them something that's wrong, you know? just to keep them low, level the playing field. You know.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Daniel said. I really enjoyed seeing MediaWorks get to like learn how to use the CCAM space, and we've even had people schedule time in the Foley labs and the sound effect labs. So that's just like super awesome, even though I don't spend a lot of time in there. But I really liked being able to help teach people how to use the space in here with lighting and just like crewing their own productions, and then seeing them come back with their own individual productions and have ideas and know what we can build off of. And there's been times where I've stayed after and we've gotten like really creative with the lighting board and like learned things together. They're like, how do you do this? And I'm like, I don't know. And like we got to figure it out and just get super creative. Yeah, I really liked that.
Yeah, as far as like the specifics of like students that like are coming to us or coming to these spaces with the intention of using them, like I've tried to teach students things before, like younger kids things before, and you're like trying to teach them something that not everybody is totally into, and trying to hold their attention, and to have something where you're kind of more specified of what you're teaching everybody and everybody's really excited to learn it. It's like really cool, that relationship of being like, oh, you're the person that we are coming to with questions, and like you're the person that's kind of securing their confidence in using this equipment, and then like building that trust and that like relationship with the students throughout the year. Like it becomes more and more fun, like working with them over the year, like, or like you're stopping by and they're like more willing to ask you questions, or like, and yeah, that feels really good to like kind of be that go-to person, and to like, and solving things and like making students like understand why something's not working or how to fix something. Like you noticing the difference between somebody just being like, to like somebody like actually really getting it and like getting to like fix it themselves or recreate it. It's like, that's really cool and satisfying for sure.
And then also like seeing as the year goes on and things get more complicated, you know, getting questions that are more complicated and more difficult to answer, like pushing you as like the teacher to be like, actually, I don't necessarily know the answer to that, and I should probably know that. And you know, it gives you an opportunity to check and balance yourself, you know, your own skill set.
Yeah. all those different perspectives, kind of like you can't know everything yourself either. So like when somebody comes up in this new problem or area that you haven't quite like discovered yourself, it like pushes you to like learn new things as a teacher yourself. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, no, my best experience with a student was actually with someone who wasn't a media student, which was a great experience, oddly enough. I ran into them at Media Loan, and they'd been given an assignment to do editing, but they had no idea what they were doing. They had one person on their team who knew how to do that, which is why they kind of took the assignment, but they were sick. So she kind of came up to Media Loan, and I happened to be there. And she was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. Can somebody please help me? And I had the time that day to be like, yeah, I'll take you down to one of the editing suites and we can work this out. And I kind of took her through how to do everything. And it was amazing how much, when you're working with a student who doesn't know media, like how much you do know. You realize, oh yeah, like, wow, I know a lot of specialized things in this, because normal people, if they're not interested in this is totally makes no sense. And so because of that, I had a huge impact on that project for her, like helping her and showing her how to do that herself. And that felt really good.
Well, aside from you guys being students and being my favorites, I think...
Oh, wait, can I take my answer back?
But my best experience, I wouldn't necessarily say was just like one particular thing, but every time I got to work with a group of students who are completely new to animation and just seeing like the gears tick when they realized exactly what's possible. So I think the best example of this would be the messy stand in the 2D multi-use room in the comm, where you can do things like paint on glass or ink or sand. And the first time you do that and have students like watch as you like move sand a little bit and get like this really cool dusty, natural sort of like just scattering look, or watch it as they take photos of ink dripping along. It's so fun to see them get excited and inspired, and then me watching this is able to, you know, sort of pick their brains and see all the cool, amazing things that they're able to do and be like, okay, I like the way you think, I can probably try that out. So for me, it was just being able to see them get really enthusiastic about something that I care a lot about.
And that's just bringing it all back around, like that whole sense of, you know, we see certain things every day, and we live with them and live in them, and having those familiar things transformed by what other people bring to it, and what that brings out, and being transformed ourselves because of that, and coming up with our own new ideas because of what other people bring to it.
Yeah, it's nice working with people who aren't necessarily aware of like the limitations we encounter and stuff, and they're like, oh, I want to do this, and that can be annoying working with a client who's just like, oh, we have to do this with the wall, and I'm like, can't really do that, but okay, and then like you kind of figure out a compromise, and it's like, oh, you can, and you kind of like push yourself, and it is really nice, just like it's like refreshing working with people who just have all of those ideas. Reminds me to do the same, not feel limited. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one thing with like teaching somebody how to use a specific like type of media equipment, to where like there are very like strict lines kind of, and then whereas you get to be like in your situation in a place where the creative part of the process is happening, so you're getting to see what they're doing with it, which is sometimes not always the case. Like the only times I've come across that is like, I'm like, oh, I'm walking around this campus, like I'm gonna just check in on the studios and see what people are doing, like, or if anyone needs help, and then that's like, you get this kind of walk in at a moment where they're kind of actually utilizing the things you taught them to use to create their projects. And that's like a cool little like peak that you get to see that is, yeah, it's really inspiring to see students like what they're doing with the things they're learning to use here.
Yeah. Like Julia was saying, like knowing that you have this sort of level of knowledge is cool. It makes you feel like a wise mentor or something like that. It's really fun knowing that you can touch people in that sort of way.
Yeah. I've like seen like when students come back, like they're like older and like come back to school to like do something new, and they don't really know anything about like even computers. Like people, they're just like, it's like a completely new format to them, and they come into the multimedia lab and they're like panicked faces, not knowing anything of what to do. And at first I was like really annoyed by it. I was like, oh, now I have to sit down with this person for like 3 hours and get like, well, I'll be behind on my work. And then after a while I was like, this is fun. It's fun to see them like kind of start to grasp what I'm saying after a while. like kind of start to grasp.
See the seed sprout.
Yeah, see the seed sprout. And like the funny thing is like other people come in who have done media stuff and they're like so much their brains work differently. They're like trying to get like they like want to be super creative with it, but when these students come back and they just don't know anything, they're like super technical and they'll only do what you tell them to do. So it's like I had to become way more articulate in the way I was speaking to people. So that was something that I've like really enjoyed.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point you bring up, actually, about how this is requiring us to be more articulate. Because I like to think I have a decent vocabulary, but when I talk, I tend to just like, construct my own compound words. I like clicky thing and that sort of stuff.
Click that doodly bop.
Yeah, and
the little square thing.
Yeah, and that's all fine and good when you're on your own, but when you're teaching this stuff, it's a little different, and having that sort of shared language is really cool. And when they're able to use that language back to you, like spit theory and that sort of thing, like, oh, what do you think of the squash and stretch in this area? Does this jump look too drastic or whatever? It's neat. I like jargon, I guess. I suppose that's what I'm going for.
Well, it speeds up your ability to communicate and also is more succinct. Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, and it shows that they're learning too.
Yeah.
Or at least that they can parrot you. Repeat back what you just said. I was really excited to learn a lot more about animation stuff is my thing. Like when I came here, I was just like, I want to be an editor, and then I got to see like all the cool animation stuff we had, and like that just like opened up a whole 10-year-old world for me. Like I was like, oh yeah, I can do what I wanted to do when I was a kid, and now it's like working on that. Like I get to see like the entire like process and like how it wants me to pull my hair out. It makes me want to pull my hair out, and how I just regret everything. But like at the same time, it's like really rewarding and it's like really fun. And I know Matt laughed because he really understands where I'm coming from on this because we're currently working on something. But like I was really excited when I saw like our Cintiq tablets that were like way nicer than mine at home, and like all the stuff we have that like I can just go in. I have a key and like just open up stuff and be like, yeah, this is great. And like, yeah, I've learned so much, like just like fall quarter this year than I'd have like my entire college career.
Yeah.
Like just being an intern, I've learned so much.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to learn nearly as much administration-related things, and saw a lot of bureaucracy this year. That was interesting and enlightening. But what I was excited to learn and actually was able to learn was more computer programming stuff, which we used for our intern project. And I wish I could have done more, but I got to learn a lot more about it, and it's really opened up a door for me and as like an artist and a creator. And also I've talked with a bunch of people, like some media work students and some other students who, were just kind of spitballing with me and telling me about their ideas for their own projects. And I was like, hey, there's this program I learned how to use, and it would actually work for what you're trying to do. And I've helped them along and, started training some people on how to use that, and that's been great. So not only have I learned the thing that I wanted to learn, but now I'm actually in a position where I can like teach other people about it right after I taught myself about it. So that's pretty rewarding.
That's awesome. It's awesome that we like here we can learn from other people, but at the same time we like spend so much time teaching ourselves. I think that's like what makes it the most rewarding is the fact that we can just like put our hands in it and like really get them dirty.
Yeah,
Totally.
I initially, I think what I'd originally approached this with was I want to learn how all the different, departments and all the different devices communicate with each other. But as the year went on, really I got more and more focused on just wanting to learn more and get better at the thing that I was already doing, which is editing. Because I think in terms of creativity, particularly with filmmaking, if I'm going to end up here, then all along the way you have this focused ability to gather all the things that you need and experiment and play and all those things, and knowing that at the end of it you're going to have all this stuff to assemble. And it has really strengthened my love of having that as being the like kind of the end game of creating something. It's like we can be as playful and find in the moment solutions when there's obstacles, because I know, okay, if we have that, I can cut it with this. So even with like campus productions, just once you start looking at raw footage, like, all right, what do I do with this? And like, just start thinking towards that.
Yeah.
That completed project.
That was the same for me too, like getting to work on these productions and kind of like see how the multimedias all work together in these productions. And I came into this knowing that I was going to kind of like be learning some of more technical aspects of the specific field that I was concentrating on. And so I was super excited to get into these studios and use all of these different types of gear that I like may never have the opportunity to use in my life. And it really helped open my eyes to the vast array of like different types of things you could possibly use, and realize things like you don't always need certain things, or you don't even need this, and kind of like focusing on that and getting to also just luckily get to put some of those things together and build kind of a studio in the first place was an extra bonus dream that I had never thought I would be doing in like this part of my life, and that was really cool. And then working on these productions, seeing how audio, video, post, all of the pre-production and post-production that goes into it, these things really kind of stoked my fire for all of the medias and seeing how they coordinate with each other. But for this, in the same time, working on those things did kind of focus me towards being like, oh wow, like, and now I really know this is like my specific area in this like big umbrella of like things that are happening. Like this is where I want to focus on, but it's cool to kind of like be focused and then kind of get to take this step back to see how it's all like interacting, and then kind of like use that perspective to refocus on my specific like duties and tasks. And yeah, that's been like a great process to go through throughout the year for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
When I first started the internship, I remember in my first interview, when we got asked what we're most excited to learn, I was like, I want to learn the technical parts of being in a production team, because I'd practiced theory a lot before, and I'm like, I kind of made my own documentary, but like I didn't actually know what it meant to be part of a production team. Like I thought it's like, oh, learning like how to use an XLR cable and where to plug it in and like how to white balance, and I'm part of a production team. But actually like how we all work together, like there's some days where I got the opportunity to direct, which is one thing I was really excited to learn, and like how much goes into that, and like staffing productions and just being able to communicate really well. And also while you're directing, I don't know, and then like doing that, but then like going across the hall to engineering to export a video, and also like talking with everybody else about like audio needs, and like it's like really awesome. There's like so much more to being in a production team than just participating in productions. It's like the larger picture, and just like learning how you help and how you can help other people and stuff like that. I'm happy to see that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, making movies is a lot harder than I thought it was. It takes a lot more people than I thought.
You just point a camera, right?
Yeah. Edit it on VHS.
Yeah. This is me editing on VHS.
Oh yeah.
Bup, bup, bup.
That's still an option here.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that.
Coming into it this year, I was originally really interested in learning just how to be a better audio engineer and how to be better at lighting for filmmaking, essentially. And throughout the year, I've had a lot better opportunities with learning how to better control an environment when you're trying to record audio, which was something I hadn't considered as much, and now I am very, very aware of. But that's only ever helped me in being better at capturing audio. So that's been a great experience. And then the experience that I've had with our intern project gave me an unintentional opportunity to learn lighting and get to work with the lighting board more and set up the studio so that it could be, part of the set for our performance. So those are both great things I got to learn that I was hoping to get to tackle during this internship.
coming into the internship, I just was like, before I fully understood the scope. There we go. Before I understood the scope of it, I was like, I just want to get really, really good at animation. I'm going to learn everything about it. I'm going to do 3D computer animation. I have never touched this before. We have Maya on these computers? Not yet? Okay, well, I'm going to learn it anyway, that sort of thing. And then I actually saw what we did, and I just had to learn everything, it felt like. It's like, oh, I want to learn audio from you guys. I need to learn how to edit. I gotta move a camera. That's cool. Directing, I can do that. Camera one? Okay, sure, why not? So for me, I feel like my excitement branched out quite a lot as soon as I realized what was available to me with this internship. And yeah, I came into it wanting to learn how to teach and just improve my own skills in like my field, but to me it's been more rewarding to branch out, I guess, than be just a specialist.
Well, when I found out I was going to be an intern, I expected it to be busy. I expected to be doing work, but like I did not expect it to be taking over my entire life. And like,
I can agree with that.
Yeah, like I haven't had time to get a haircut in like a long time, and that you can clearly see that. But like, I look haggard. But like, no, I expected to like have time to like work on like my independent stuff a lot. I expected to like, I was like, I'm gonna do a short film every quarter. I'm gonna do this, and I'll have time to have another job on the side. Yeah, everything's gonna be good in my life. And instead, I'm like sitting here in spring quarter, like I'm broke as hell. I've moved 3 times this year, and I am like, I'm tired. I don't have any time for anything. I just wish I could get a full night's sleep. Really, like I did not expect to be this busy.
Yeah.
Or like have this much work, like still.
Yeah, I don't know if any of us expected it to be as busy as it really was. I certainly didn't foresee there being as much like campus productions and like administrative type things, like working on the computer, and I didn't expect so much of that stuff. But it was a good learning experience. It was definitely far outside of my skill set or previous experience. So. Yeah, I think I expected maybe to have more time to, like, since I'm the audio engineer, I guess I thought I would be able to access the studios more for my own personal things, but I did get to access the studios a lot, but it was more to help people. Occasionally I got to record things, but yeah, it was just lots of hard work, lots of running around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of hard work running around, and like there was a lot. I thought it was going to be a lot more of like getting very technically advanced in my specific field, and it kind of ended up being with like concentrating on lots of like cross training in other fields and just focusing on that, and it was actually a lot more like kind of paperwork and like doing like lots of scheduling for students and lots of production work, which was unexpected for me. And even though I didn't get into the more technically advanced things that I thought I was going to in my field, you do kind of constantly do a lot of the same things on like a broad base that kind of build this like foundation that is kind of crucial. With like some of those things just come with experience. Like we could cross train and we could like kind of learn some new things, but if you're not doing like the basics for a long enough time, a lot of those things are either not going to stick with you or make sense, and like sometimes you just have to like build that super good fertile like basic like foundation to like before you start advancing. And so I didn't quite get as advanced as I thought, but I definitely learned a lot more across the board than I thought I was, for sure.
When you learn like that, it becomes easier to pick other things up too. Like I found out like since I've used like this program and this program and then this program, it makes it like I was baffled by like Digital Performer, and then like a couple days ago I just sat down and I was like, Patrick, help me, and you gave me like a couple tips, and now I'm like, oh, I can do it. It's like, oh, this is like this, and I could just like, oh, then move this here. And, like it just now I know like if I had a program that I didn't know, like since I know so many other ones now, I can sit down and be confident enough that I can learn it.
Yeah.
Just because like that base work of just like knowing.
And having a crew of people who are all in the same boat, but in these fields, because then we are all excited to teach and learn from each other, and are like willing to make that time, because we would, just as on the other side of it, would want that time with somebody. So like we're all kind of looking out for each other in that way too, which is pretty cool.
In terms of time and like what you can do with it, and like how you can end up surprising yourself, not just wear yourself out, but the effort to keep up with the regular workflow and to make the group intern project happen. I mean, that was the year up till now, and that amazed me. I mean, because all of us end our day just like, okay, we've done our job. Oh, and also we're going to do this thing. We're going to make this thing happen. Just that, having that inspiration in addition to just like, yes, we have a job to do, but having the inspiration to say like, we also have this opportunity, all of us, to create this thing, together, and making that happen and taking the time to make that happen.
Is that something you were expecting with the internship?
I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I knew that as soon as I found out that was a component of it, that became kind of one of the driving forces of my year for me. Wow, what can we do with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now that it's passed, you just don't know what to do with yourself.
No, I do.
Oh, I know.
That's good.
And the realization with how much work outside of work to work on work.
Yeah.
But how much time it takes outside of our job to make a production that we're all working on together outside of that like daily 9 to 5, how much time it takes, and like how hard it is to get a lot of people all on the same page all of the time and stay in communication and constantly staying on top of all of these tasks throughout that process is really tough.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the first time I had like 8 other people counting on me to just pull my weight and do what I said I was going to do. And so stress is a huge motivator for our intern project, but I'm so happy that I mean, obviously, that's like the first time where I've been, it's not like fun creative stress. It's like, oh my God, I said I was going to do this. I'm going to do this. And, yeah, that was really cool though. I learned how to multitask like super well, like super, I don't know. I don't know. That was really cool to just like, and then to like see 8 people or 9 people coming together to just like make one awesome big thing happen was just super rewarding, and to see how your contribution actually is really important, and it wouldn't have worked if not everybody did what they said they would. So that was really cool.
In addition to yes, it's very stressful, but there's nothing like that feeling of, Saturday night when the last show went up. We did it.
Oh my God.
We made that happen. That wasn't there before, and now it is.
Didn't even cut anything.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and I guess one other thing I was expecting when I came into the internship was to do more like independent projects and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a short film this quarter, and the next quarter I'm gonna do this, and maybe make a few short films. But yeah, obviously that didn't happen. But I think it's really cool that we got to have a part in so many other like students like short films, because kind of we helped contribute to like 30 short films and stuff like that, or like songs and stuff, like whatever we did, or animations and productions. Yeah, I'm really happy that we got to do like the fundamental like learning of like our own specialty, I guess, and then just get to observe everybody else in productions, and then just be able to contribute to other people and just slowly pick up more knowledge as we went. So I'm like pretty happy with how that turned out. And our intern project was like something to be super proud of. So that was cool.
And that's, like I said at the sponsor meeting, like that the day we all shot in the C camp, we made most of 4 short films in one day, like by just all coming together and saying, okay, this is what needs to happen.
Killing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I expected to have a much more consistent workflow, I guess, with students. Like, for me, there are a lot of things, but I'll start with this one. I expected, like, to be working a lot more closely with them than I did. I ended up having, like, a couple, like, big groups that I'd work with and then just leave them to their thing and then just run over and help them when they needed it. Coming into this, I sort of thought I'd be hovering over them watching, and I'm kind of glad that's not how it went, actually, in hindsight. So that's one thing. I expected there to be more formal cross-training, like, okay, today's going to be Patrick's day to show everyone, like, this studio or whatever, and today's going to be Matt's day to teach everyone animation, and it's like, oh. But that didn't happen, and it turned out being a lot more subtle, I guess. So I didn't necessarily realize it when it was happening, but I did get quite a lot of cross-training done. I learned a lot of new things, but it was just part of the workflow rather than something set aside specifically. It was a lot busier than I thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is kind
Full
of
circle.
maybe counter to my assumption that I'd be more like consistent in what I was doing, but there were like huge spikes of crazy activity and then doldrums followed by huge spikes. So, or at least in my case, though I figure with the nods that you guys know what I'm talking about.
As soon as you get used to it, it's like,
Yeah.
As soon as you get used to like, I can just put my feet up, work on my own stuff. And then
Yeah.
As soon as you get used to it, it's like, hey, you got like 14 productions you got to work on.
Yeah, so I guess what all this comes down to is my expectation was that I was going to take a lot more of a proactive teaching role as opposed to being more of like a specialist advisor in a variety of fields.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. Yeah. Totally.
Just a whisper.
That's good. That's good, Matt. That's good.
You have good vocab.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm more articulate thanks to this.
I do want to isolate the soundbite of Matt saying, "That's good, Matt. That's good."
I want to sample that and just
Can
wake
we
up to it in the
show-
morning. Like,
Yeah, do some weird stuff with editing that's just like what's in Matt's head all the time, like his conscience. We need to make conscience.
we just need like a lot of shots of me nodding and then like that going over.
That's
Like,
good,
good,
Matt.
Matt. That's good. That's really good.
All together inserts now.
Yeah, coming into the internship, I had, yeah, my expectations were bad about understanding my responsibilities. I just like, I don't know, coming in, I thought I'd have a lot more hands-on work with students individually. I didn't realize that the production intern was more of a in the cave on your computer kind of gig besides productions. So yeah, I don't know. I thought I'd be doing more things like working along with MediaWorks and things like that. And I got to like here and there, but yeah, that was different. And I definitely did a lot more audio work than I expected, which wasn't bad, but it was not what I was expecting. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to be editing this like every week. Dang. That was not what I assumed.
You nailed it.
Huh?
And you nailed it.
I put my best effort in, really. No, thank you. Yeah.
Shucks.
Yeah. But I was definitely grateful for the moments that I did get to work. Productions that were like helping classrooms. Like those were some of the best moments. Because having had experience with electronic media last year, like, I always loved doing the Skype jobs. And even more this year, I appreciated being able to be included in a classroom setting when that's not what I am in anymore. And being able to be around students and feel like I can do positive impacts with my knowledge in media for other people. So, yeah, definitely a lot more work too.
Yeah, another thing for me to note on like the amount of time that I thought was going to be spent working here, like around the internship, was I kind of thought I would have more time to be continuing all of the projects I had going on outside of school. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. It's going to be this like all this learning coinciding with like all of these projects I'm doing outside of school. Like that's so great. And I quickly learned that there is not enough time for all of it. And so even though it was kind of a bummer to like kind of have to cut certain projects or out of kind of my life for a little while, and it kind of made me become more of a professional at choosing and prioritizing the work I'm doing and like what's more important to me, and like learning how to not spread yourself too thin, I think was a lot of things I learned just because I was very heavily kind of active in a lot of different musical recording types of projects outside of this, and I just thought they were going to coincide so well, and I just quickly realized that I did not have the time for that, and that's been a big learning experience for me too, and has carried throughout this time with like taking on projects from people or talking to people about like what we're doing and like what we can do in the time frame that we have, and like understanding my schedule and like what I can get done, and learning how to tell people no and not tell people maybe. And that was a big part of like my like field and being a professional. I think that has been very secured over the course of this year, which feels really good.
Yeah, a lot of setting boundaries this year, and that was like something I didn't necessarily anticipate. I mean, I didn't have too many expectations coming into the internship. I think I thought of it more as a job and less of schoolwork at the beginning. Like I was taking it on as a job, and that was like sort of how I thought about it. So when you have a job, you know, if you're working 9 to 5, then you go home and you're home. But like there was a gray area there where it's like I left work and like, am I allowed to stop working though? Like I've got a lot to do, and like you know, so setting boundaries with like people, like how many tasks you're willing to take on at once, like knowing your own limitations. You know, we had to set up a lot of boundaries with students who, you know, maybe would like abuse their privileges or whatever it is. And setting boundaries with staff members who, you know, not like the people that we work with in the media field, but just like other people that we would have to help, you know, give AV support to or classroom support. Just like learning how to be professional and be, have more convictions and be like, yeah, we can't do that. Like, you know, I can help you think of an alternative though, you know, and working with people like that. And yeah, that was something that I didn't anticipate, but I'm glad that I learned here. Yeah.
I'm still having trouble like seeing like when something's like up on a board and you're agreeing to do it, you're like, yeah, I don't have very many. I only got like 5 of those, and you're like, wait, 5 equals so many hours doing that this many times, and then you do more, and then there's more next week. Like I still have a lot of trouble being like, oh, I should just like, I have other stuff to work on. I should just get as much as I can and then do that, and then I get buried in it.
Yeah, I mean, organization has just been a huge part, I think, for every one of us. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, but like I mean, I thought I was kind of organized before this internship, but I've had to change a lot of my tactics, and like I've got multiple calendars now, and I've got, you know, like paper and digital, and I've got like I'm just planning out every day of my week in advance now, whereas before I'd be more likely to fly by the seat of my pants. But it's good to have to like be able to do that. And it's really crucial.
I do think something you said earlier is vital for all of us going into media industry, is that people outside of media who want media services do not know how long it will take. They're like, so you get that to me by tomorrow, right? Thanks.
No big.
So yeah, so being able to say no when it is like, no, I cannot do that in 2 days.
Let me learn you a thing.
You're setting like real expectations for these people.
Yeah.
And doing it in a way that's tactful too, not being like, no. It's not gonna be ready.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Like if you say yes and you're not able to provide the time that it requires, you're not doing them any favors.
Yeah, and it makes you look worse too, and it kind of undermines the credibility of what we do here.
The whole enterprise.
The whole enterprise.
Bring it all down.
Yeah, it was. Oh.
No, you're good.
Libra.
Libra.
No, you go. No, you go.
It's fine.
Okay, seriously.
The hand motion that accompanies that. Like.
Yeah, another thing about that, being able to set boundaries and work with clients and stuff, I think it was really nice working on so many productions, because then you can get a feel for like what you're capable of doing and like what your workflow is, and like when you can actually turn out a product. Like, you know yourself, and like how long you need to take to edit, or how long it will take to set up for an interview or whatever, and you can actually like get a good feel for like your time frame. And I think that's like super awesome. I really I enjoyed learning that about myself and my workflow too, in addition to working with other people. It's good.
Like something I learned was like, I can't really work now unless I have a list that's like 2 pages long, that's like has detailed times of when to do this or when to do that, and like greater than or equal to 3 o'clock I will be done. Like I will be done with this, and then all of that, and like I have like notebooks just sitting in the multimedia lab that I'll like leave on a computer overnight and be like, oh no, where did I put that? I need to know what to do next. And I'll have to like go in there, and like a couple days ago I was holding up like a notebook that had like 5 pages filled, and I just looked at Matt and I was like, what have I become?
When do I eat dinner?
I'm a list maker.
I forgot to put dinner on this list.
Give me a pencil. I'm just sitting there animating like you're stressing me out, man.
I also have to be like, I can't just yell across the room if I need something now, because Matt's always like got his headphones on doing something. And I'll be like, Matt.
Smart, Matt.
Matt.
Yeah.
Matt.
I'm an island unto myself.
Well, I had two best experiences, I guess.
Hey.
Yeah. Right?
Was
so
I in them?
yeah. Yeah. You were in one of them.
It was a dream, and you were there.
Yeah. But you were never mind. So the two experiences that I had that like I really enjoyed were the intern project. First of all, there was elements of it that were far from enjoyable, but the actual like thing, and like when the event was actually started and people were coming in and we actually had people coming in, that was awesome. And to see like all the work that we did, and it seemed like a real thing, and it was sort of surreal because I've never worked on a creative project before that went so far outside of the scope of what I'm able to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I usually do music and music related things, and like even if I was pushing myself and working outside of my comfort zone, it was always still like a music related thing. This was like a multimedia performance with live aspects, and there was cameras and lighting and all this stuff I just would not have been able to do without the help of all you and all the EM people. And so that was really great to, you know, make something bigger than myself. And also, similarly, in the fall quarter, the concert that I helped orchestrate over in the experimental theater, that was really rewarding on a number of levels. I mean, I learned a lot about preparing for it because I've prepared for, you know, I've booked festivals before, multiple day festivals even, and I've booked bands on lots of shows, and I've booked myself on lots of shows, but I've never had to do it through a college. We were like flying people out to come play. We had a multi-track recording happening and cameras, and I mean, it was an actual production. It wasn't just a show. It was like a real legitimate thing, and it felt good. And like the bands that we flew out here, who I'm a big fan of, you know, they were all really happy, and they were all actually really impressed, and they asked for copies of the signal flow, like the signal flow diagram that I drew. They're like, "Whoa, that's so cool! That's us on the signal flow. Like, that's so cool." You know? Yeah, like, duh.
It's like a set list.
Yeah, right.
I want to frame this.
Yeah, so I mean, those were really great experiences for me, and I definitely don't think that I would have had those experiences elsewhere. Yeah, that's why I came to Evergreen. So it was nice to like see it, like be like, I came here years ago, and I'm doing like exactly what I, you know,
got there.
Yeah, what I'd like to do. Yeah.
No, actually, can I like steal that? Because you just reminded me of one of my favorite moments was doing that concert and being with Kish at the Switcher. And we had it where the musician had like the saxophone, and we had two different angles. We're like, all right, half T-bar. And so then you had the two angles on the saxophones and like the blue lighting, and it looked so freaking cheesy. And it was just beautiful. And
Yeah.
Kish and I were like crying tears of
And
laughter.
I was there
enjoying.
too, but
Oh, yeah, no, it was
fine. Like I was giggling too.
I'm
We don't
sorry.
care. I clicked one button that entire
And
production.
it was great to watch the
Yeah.
musician like be looking up at the projection, like what are they doing? We
That's
like put the image of them in it with all this like weird effects happening, and just like it was beautiful to know that you could do that with a switcher, and it was great to like do that ourselves and just like have that just the whole thing went hilariously.
And a crazy way to start the year too.
Yeah, that was so fun.
So whirlwindy back then. Way back
Way
in fall.
back in fall.
Wait, yeah.
It seriously
really
feels
feels
like
It's
so
only been
long
like, what,
ago.
8 months so
Gosh.
far?
Yeah.
I've drank so much water since then.
I've drank so much since
Drink the
then.
lake.
I think one of my like favorite bonding things was like at the beginning of the year, just like I didn't know anybody. I even like last year, the beginning of last year, end of last year, like didn't know anybody, showing up at Dave's house for that barbecue, and like not knowing how to get in, so I like stood out the door, like really uncomfortable by myself, and just I saw Matt, and I had a program with Matt before, but we didn't really talk in it. We just kind of knew each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, "How do we get in here, Matt?"
A couple times.
Yeah, and we were like, "We gotta go in there. Let's get in there." So we like climbed over the fence and like went in the back. But like like it was like nights like those, like when we went to the Dave's house and then the Peter's house later, and like
The Peter.
and then the Raoul's bagel party. That was really good.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a good
yeah,
bonding
it was like the
experience.
best day with
Yeah.
I was so happy.
Bagel one.
Yeah, no, I had so much
Bagel one.
fun.
Drop.
Bagels, drop, flip.
And I feel like I really missed out on all the times like everyone went to bars and stuff just because I couldn't make it to the bar. Like one time I thought you guys were going to one bar and I showed up at that bar and apparently it was right after everybody left. And I was like, oh man. But like a bunch of times like that, I feel like I missed out. I'm really disappointed. But like, man, I had a really good time this year with you guys, and I appreciate you guys, all y'all's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another bonding experience that I had a lot of fun with was sitting in the sound effects lab with Patrick and Matt and just like doing stupid stuff for like 4 hours.
For work.
For work.
Stupid stuff with great goals.
With awesome goals. We're bringing Sasquatch to life.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just had a really good time this year. I really appreciate all y'all. All y'all are appreciated.
Yeah, it's nice to actually work with people that you have a lot in common with. I don't know. I mean, this is like only the second job I've had out here in Olympia, but you know, back in Chicago, most of the jobs I worked, it was like you didn't really talk with your coworkers very much. I mean, you talked at work. It wasn't like there was no culture around it. There was no like potluck culture, and there was no like, hey, let's go hang out after work kind of anything. No expectations like that. People were like, I'm out of work. Like, I don't know you now, you know? And like, you're like, good, like, I don't like you, you know? But like here, it's like, I don't fear coming to work because I like the people I work with. And like,
definitely.
you know, you can talk, you can reason with people. You're like, that's great. You're very understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, there is such a culture around it. That's a good way to put it. I feel like we're actually a team, or we've become a team. It's really cute. Libra.
Yeah, wait, speaking of team, where's the little teddy bear?
Oh!
Barry White!
It's in the multimedia lab.
Dang. I was gonna say
Go get him. Go get him.
Barry. Yeah, he's there for all the interviews.
Yeah, we do need the bear. I was going to say my favorite bonding experience was setting up the first series of interviews and stuff, because that was really challenging, because that was like me learning how to put together like lights and a camera and audio stuff for a little tiny production, and but we were all doing it together, and we were all actually like getting to hear our goals, and it was like, oh, like if we didn't know that much about each other, like, oh, that's what you want to do, cool, we're all kind of starting on the same page, and we're also crammed in a tiny room with all these like hot lights and like recording and like asking each other questions and throwing the bear at each other, and it was really cute. I think that was like the first good bonding experience, besides all the times we got drunk.
Yay.
Yeah.
That was, for me, I was so happy about that, because I, have been emailing people like, hey, can we like try to coordinate all this? And all of you were like, yeah, absolutely, anytime you want. And I was like, oh, they listen to me.
I have a voice.
Oh my God, yes. I can do this.
I send like the email like 5 days later, like, sorry.
I think just beyond work ethic, I mean, it's the sense of finding people with shared sensibilities, because creativity really depends on, does this thing make sense to you? Like, I had this idea, and when you played the radio ad for me, and just like weird little comedic things that we've done that are just like, okay, I know that we're gonna both think this is funny, and hopefully it'll work for other people, but we're gonna make ourselves up. But that fits into, there's two things that kind of operate together. One, obviously, like as I've said, realizing that everything we talked about with this massive intern project happened.
Yeah.
I think it was the morning that you showed me the Robot Usher suit, and you showed me all the computer programs, and I was like, all right, the show's ready to go. We had started, like, everybody had been rehearsing together. Oh, it's here it is.
Yeah,
this thing that we were all talking about like a few months ago, going, this is too much. Like, okay, maybe, well, all right, let's think about that. All happened. So there's this one massive towering achievement, and if I can call it that. And then there were a couple of moments that just spontaneous videos got made. One, because it was just like me and Taylor and Kish and Dave were joking around about something. We're like, all right, let's make that. And we did. So like the flip side of months and months of preparation and work and stress and all that is just every now and then taking a moment to go like, yes, that weird idea, we're going to do that. We're going to do that right now. Yeah. Which I love so much. And it's a combination of having both a similar work ethic, but also an ability to like understand each other's crazy ideas,
right,
and bring them to life.
So, that comes with being open too, you know, and compromise and all that stuff. It's like if you can just have enough of a connection to be passionate and like keep the project going forward, but also being open enough to be like, I'm not gonna be upset if it doesn't go the way I want. Like, I'm a part of it. I started it going in this direction with all of you, and wherever it ends up, like, I trust that, like, wherever that goes.
Yeah, a lot of trust, because it's pretty nerve-wracking when everybody's taking care of these things and you're not seeing it all on the table, you know, until the week before, or the week, like 2 weeks before, you know, like, and then you're finally like, oh, holy shit, all right, like, everybody's on it. That's really cool.
Da bear.
Well, so far this has been a really good bonding experience, I'd say, but the ones that really stand out for me were just all the times we hung out outside of work hours, or we didn't, or even inside of work hours, like lunch and that sort of thing, going out to Curry Corner and that sort of thing, or that sort of thing. Anyway, but yeah, I just really enjoyed being able to talk to all of you one-on-one wherever, and I like that a lot.
After graduation, I intend to look for jobs and keep my options open. Here in this internship, we got really good, like we had good access to wide skill sets, you know, and so now I'm coming out with more knowledge than I had when I came in, and I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole myself and like just go in one direction. You know, I think I came into Evergreen thinking that I wanted to work like recording music in a studio, and that is just not really necessarily like one of my aspirations anymore. I will record music in studios, you know, like that might not be what I do for a career though. I just like to, yeah, like I think I'm gonna have better opportunities now than I did before the internship, and I'd like to be surprised. I'd like to maybe find a job that is like nothing I had considered. I think that would be great. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I love all the different skills I learned here too. I feel really well equipped to go in many directions once we leave because, yeah, there's like a lot of potential ahead. I just applied for like a marketing position somewhere in like social media outreach. I'm like, I can do that because I've done that in an internship before, but also I would love to work in a TV studio, and I would love to like direct or even be like switcher for like a news station for a while, and then go to grad school and study like more psych in like media interaction, communication. Communication. Libra. Sorry, I keep ruining it with Libra. Yeah.
We'll just beep it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to go in like all of the directions. And yeah, like what you were saying, like you wanted to record music, but that might not be like a job goal. And same, I want to keep like making my own movies and maybe documentaries, but I'm just really excited to learn more about the different dimensions of the fields that we have prepared for. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, to keep learning.
Keep learning.
Yeah, not get a job where it's like, okay, I already know how to record, blah, 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 or I already know how to shoot a video, so like I'm going to stick with that. But like be like, I want to keep my brain, I want to get it so big.
I'm excited. I'm excited for after I graduate, because then I have so much more free time, and I'm excited because I have like a lot of plans, and I have a lot of like using my understanding, using all the skills that I've like gotten here to like go out and make my own stuff. And I've also been offered like freelance work from people in town to do like short weird animations for their music videos, or do like editing for them when they have too much editing to do, for like people that make rap videos in town and stuff. And I'm excited to just be able to like go out there and like work with people and be able to sit at my kitchen table and pretend that it's an office before I get an office. But yeah, no, I'm just excited to like be able to form ideas into something and actually have like this now. Like before this year, I would always like, I have this idea and I don't know what to do with it. And now it's like, I'm like, I have this idea and I know exactly how I'm going to form it and make this happen. Like I know like I have to do steps, and like now I know that I can go out there and I could like actually write a script, or like actually do things that pertain to my field and work. Totally. I'm excited to just work.
Yeah, the skill set opens up a lot more things than I thought I would have possible in my repertoire of like kind of job tasks I can fulfill like in different work fields. And like I feel like I also have a lot of ideas and things that I want to do even on my own time without looking for work even, and those things have evolved over this time, this year in school, just because so many of those ideas can be expanded upon now with my skill set of what I can do and like make these type of productions happen. And also I'm excited to, because like it pretty much being so busy, it's created this stew. Like all of these ideas have been stewing now, and all of a sudden it's like this, you're like waiting for it to break, and then school's over, and then you're gonna be able to just like, I have so many things I'm excited to work on and do after this, that it's gonna just be like, and sometimes having to be held back a little while and let those things kind of form, and like, it's gonna create like such a kind of explosion of like ideas and creativity, and like just getting tons of stuff done after this is what I'm really excited about. And like, I'm gonna have so many things to keep me busy while I'm looking for work, and that I'm just excited for all the possible opportunities that are gonna arise afterwards.
That's actually a big positive. That's a good reminder. Thanks, man. That's a big positive out of something that's sometimes been frustrating. So there have been a number of projects that I wanted to work on that I just didn't have time to work on. Mm-hmm. I can do them later. Totally. So yeah, I do have this storehouse. But after school, I'm going to hopefully sooner rather than later get work, make a living as an editor, while I continue to develop and hopefully shoot my own projects. And then someday maybe that will be how I make my living.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks. Thank you. Me too.
Filmed by Dan Cam.
Damn that Cam.
That dang damn Cam.
Who's gonna answer next?
All right, man. Oh.
Can't have anything.
Can we fight over this?
No.
No. Okay. Oh, goodness.
Speaker bear.
Won't cross you.
It's like the conch.
Speaker bear.
No, yeah. Once I get out, I wanna do continue pursuing media production like I have been doing. And since I've had such a breadth of experience in this field, I'd be happy with so many different varieties of work. I'd be happy doing assistant work on sets. I'd be happy working in in some kind of amphitheater, helping with audio setup. Like I'd love to work in esports and just being. I like being the behind the scenes person that you don't realize is there, but is the one who made everything happen. So as long as I know I like being the person who's like, I set up all those cables and now I'm running these things, and that's the kind of stuff that I really would love to continue doing once I get out of here, and hopefully I can do it in Portland if I'm lucky, my home. So that's really what I want to get going. I want to do that and then finally be able to take time to do my own personal projects as well.
See you there.
Portland would be great.
All right, I'm gonna move back home to LA and apply to every animation studio internship I can possibly find, and hopefully they'll take me and then hire me from there. I plan to work on a storyboard portfolio, building towards that type of goal, I guess. Maybe I'll do an online grad school in the meantime, finally learn 3D animation from people in the field who work with it constantly, and see where it takes me from there. Step one, get on the train, I guess.
Yeah. You're going to LA right after graduation?
I'm going to backpack in Europe with my girlfriend for like a month and a half, get that last fantasy time before real life in,
yeah, and
then just power on hard and hope that the few people I know who have anything to do with the industry will give me some pointers, I guess.
Well, I'll see you in September.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Before any projects, vacation first. Or tour.
That's the other thing.
We go on tour for a while, and then after tour's done, then I'll chill out for a minute and then focus on it.
I'm going to Disneyland in October. I gotta save for that.
Nice. And then never leave.
And then never leave Disneyland.
I can't talk yet. On a similar note, we all have a lot of skills, and I hope that we stay in touch because maybe someday one of us will be working at Space Mountain and we'll need help to set up the new Aerosmith light show at the Rock and Roll roller coaster, and they need help making audio, and you're like, oh, I remember Patrick from the Intern. Get him hired, and I'll be like, cool, Disney World, yeah, sure, I'm there. You know, and
I'll multi-track that.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point you bring up too. Well, a good point that this internship has given us a wide variety of skills to choose from and use. And while I was looking at like entry-level jobs in animation and stuff like that, just productions in general, we meet all the prerequisites.
We do.
Yeah, like every single one.
It's
and then some. So we've got like the switching experience and directing and all that stuff. So it feels really good to look at that and go like, okay, I am more than qualified for this.
Last quarter, Matt and I were just like, we spent like a full day, like a really slow day, just like on like Cartoon Network and like Time Warner.
I'm always checking out Adult Swim jobs.
Yeah, me too. But they're in Georgia. I don't want to move to Georgia.
Yeah.
But like I can't. Yeah.
I hear they're getting invaded a lot lately.
Yeah. No, but we were like always looking at them and being like, oh my God, Matt, you can do this. Look at this link. But,
I like working with Cintiq tablets.
Yeah. I'm good at this.
Run.
Have no expectations. Start working on anything you can immediately. Start working on the intern project immediately.
And your own project.
And your own project immediately.
Oh, and your resume
be prepared.
and everything. Get started on that quick.
Yeah.
Be prepared to document all the things you do. I think you end up being so busy concentrating on so many things that remembering to just snap a few pictures of what you're doing is like really helpful and crucial down the road.
And don't like overwhelm yourself with stuff either. Like you're gonna have a lot of work to do, so like even when you're not expecting to have a lot of work to do, keep in mind that you might have more to do. And make a lot of lists. Make a lot of lists.
Meditate. Exercise. Eat food regularly.
Drink a lot of water.
Take vitamin D pills.
Quit smoking, because it'll take over your life here.
You'll be like, I need a cigarette break.
I like for a while.
I could have been editing, but I was smoking.
I could have been editing a lot of times, but I was taking a lot.
I don't know how you heard it. But,
We recorded it when you were sleeping.
I'd recommend taking lots of pictures. And I think Julia's the only one who kept a successful blog, and I'm kind of like, I'm kind of sad that I didn't stay on that because Julia's blog looks awesome.
Yeah.
She got a lot of pictures of us doing stuff. And I was taking pictures, and I thought it'd be cute to make us an Instagram, and then like I failed and just never did that. But yeah, taking pictures and just like writing down stuff you do, and you'll remember it when it comes time to write evals or just like make yourself feel happy about being accomplished. You just gotta be like, oh, I did do stuff.
Yeah.
Work on the intern project immediately too.
Don't be too hard on yourself or your coworkers.
Yeah.
Everyone's working really hard, so have patience.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Patience and understanding that sometimes some people don't understand what your role is.
Yeah.
What are you doing here again?
You're for media alone, right? No.
We haven't had an animation intern in how many years?
Don't be afraid to ask for help is a big one. A lot of times, especially if you're new, you'll come in thinking that you have to handle it all yourself, but, other people are there to support you. Ask for help when you need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be afraid to say I don't understand how to do this or whatever. Or if you're having a conflict with somebody in the office or wherever, just don't let it simmer all year because it's not going to just go away. So just like be professional and be an adult about it and try to clear things up as quickly as possible.
Totally.
Yeah. And you're fired.
And you're fired.
we can just use that bit if somebody doesn't make it.
We'll just send them that
advice
little...
for future interns.
You're
Here's
fired.
my advice for you. Forget it. You're going home.
You're done.
Yeah. be really confident in your skills because you were chosen for a reason. So just be happy, and when you have downtime, take the time to go teach yourself things and explore the space you work in and ask questions like Julia said. It's an awesome way to pick stuff up and be ahead of the game.
Yep. Yeah, whatever things that you do that really help revitalize you, like grab hold of those things and like do them as often as you can, because it's crucial to keep your energy up throughout it, because that seems to be a constant or consistent thing, is that people are working a lot more than you think you're going to. So just, I sometimes, find what kind of things calm you down and revitalize your energy, and just do those as often as you can.
Don't pigeonhole yourself. I don't know if don't just say I'm this intern, so I'm only gonna do this, because you have so many opportunities to learn stuff. So many. Before I came here, I knew really basic how to do audio stuff, and now I used Audition before, and that was all I used for audio stuff, and now I can work my way around Ableton and do some stuff in DP and record things that I couldn't do before. It's don't let your previous skill set inform what you're gonna do this year. I keep looking to you for approval.
That's all right, son.
I don't give advice, so.
Yeah, well.
Good luck.
Good luck. I didn't get told anything by my father. So.
Went out for a pack of smokes.
Never came back. Yeah, I'd say.
He came back and he smoked him.
I mean, story goes, I never saw him again.
All right, well, I'd say we have a wide variety of resources here, so make sure you use them. I'm pretty much touching on everything everyone else has already said, but make use of cross-training, get to know everyone, make friends, have fun, and be flexible. You're not going to get opportunities quite like this one, so make the most of it.
Stretch. Get a full night's sleep. Drink enough water. Eat enough food. Clip your fingernails.
I'm pretty sure all of us would be pretty hypocritical to say make sure you're getting enough sleep, because I don't think any of us have gotten enough sleep this year.
I've been doing well with sleep.
I have not. I haven't gotten a full night's sleep since June.
Well, dag.
That's good, Matt. That's good.
If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you'd better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather there for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic.